Welcome back to another video, and today we'll be taking a look at Big Belly, the newly introduced boss unit for Great Nature in VBT 11, and it puts a heavy emphasis on the multi-battle, which is an old school Great Nature playstyle with a slight balance of having a Great Tree in Soul. So the Lord does go first in this game. The Great Nature does ride into the Mouse Toby here, which is a counter charge for Big Belly, which is very interesting given that Great Nature first counter charger is this card. And it does have the on hit draw effect, similar to Saber Newt. And the attack does go through, as slot does require counterblast to do a counter attack. And we do see a classic Lia 4 turn here that pushes the aggro in the game, calling the Charon to counter charge one. Calling the Mofessa, as well as the Abyssal Hour, which pay the cost similar to a Sword Breaker to draw one additional card. So that might be all for the turn. And that's swing with the Lia 4. Try checking to a draw trigger here, pushing further with the big Mofessa. So it passes the turn to Great Nature here. And the Great Nature does ride into the new Grade 2 unit, which is actually called Spool Mary. So it basically has a Forerunner skill on the Grade 2, as well as adding that bonus power if you do have the Big Belly Vanguard. And we do see him calling the newly introduced Grade 2 Triple R, which is actually a measured Fossa. And he hits into the Flow Panther here. So very strong superior call there, because the Flow Panther is actually a barely support unit, whereby you can actually Soul Blast one to have an additional unit plus 10k power. So he does pay 10k, he does pay the cost of the Flow Panther, giving the Measure Fossa additional 10k power, so at the end of the turn, it will die. So he does swing side with the Sperry Moo there, which is a 1 pass. And he does swing the side again, damage denying the Lord player, which is actually a heads up move because Lord does need counter blast to actually progress his aggression. So it's Lord turn here, and he'll be riding into the Dragheart Lord, gaining an marker, using the X skill immediately to kill off the Flow Panther because it does recognize a threat there. As Lord does not have any counters to with this turn will be just a effectively free turn to farm force markers. I love you, Bushiroad. So superior riding to the Drag Driver here, putting the additional marker to the side. Not able to superior call anything given that there is no counter blast. Calls down the Mofessa, and this might be a simple turn. Swing with the Lord for 13k only, Twin Drive in the double blank, but Mofessa does swing for 30k power. He does eat the damage, and Big Belly actually needs damage here to actually do his shenanigans. So it's time for him to fight back, and he does ride into the Big Belly here, gaining the XL2 marker to draw additional 1 card. And the Spool Mary will trigger Superior calling himself out from the soul. And we do see him committing the Great Tree Searcher here, which actually does plus 5k if you do have an additional circle. And he does hit to the Hamdon here, which is a very crucial unit to have, especially when he's going second. So he will be discarding 1 card, which is a Quick Shield. And we will be able to witness the acceleration being done by Hamdon himself. So Hamdon does allow you to put a Great Tree from your hand to soul to effectively fulfill the Big Belly skill. And he does additional give a 10k power buff to that unit, so both units will be able to hit for 20k base power, allowing the belly to actually stand them later into the turn. So he does swing with the Spool Mary here, and the Spool Mary does plus 10k to himself as well as to Big Belly. So this will be a 27k swing, which is a 15k guard. So the pushback here will activate, which is to retire himself to plus 5 10k to a unit. He does plus 10k to a Spool Mary here, and he does draw because of the Big Belly skill. Since during the battle phase it does die, so he's able to proc that skill to draw additional 1 card. And the hand-on will be swinging for a 10k guard here, given that it's only 22k. And the measured Forza will swing here, Soul Blasting 1 to give a unit 10k power, which will be plusing to himself, and he will be swinging for 34k himself. That's very high power. The belly will swing here with a 22k base power, using the skill to actually stand 3 units. And will be further swinging with these units. And the expected power to guard is actually 25, so it's actually 65k worth of shields. But we do see a damage trigger here, and yet another damage trigger, and it's a huge trigger at that. Very strong player. And the Forza will be hitting for 34k against a 33k base slot, so it'll just be a 5k power, and it does intercept, and that will end the turn. But end of turn, those 2 units do die, and the belly will proc twice, given that it does stack, and he does able to draw 2 cards from that. But the only issue I think belly does face is the lack of counter blast, given that they do not actually counter charge very easily, even though they do have a counter charge unit. So we do see Lot going into the second Dragheart Lot right here, gaining yet another marker, already at 4 markers already, and does use the Abyssal Hour to actually further draw 1 additional card. So he does return 2 units here to Superior Right. So there will be a correction play here, as the Lot only have 2 Grade 1 in drop zone previously, so he will still be required to pay a counter plus 1 for that Superior Right. And the Lot will be able to potentially Superior Core 4 Grade 1 units. Very strong effect. A Morfessa, a Dacron, a Abyssal Hour. And we will be seeing the second Abyssal Hour here to further farm into the deck, for its I would say win condition. And using the double Abyssal Hour skill, Soul Blasting the Drag Driver as well as the Starter David to draw 2 cards. A slight replay here, because you do want to swing with the Abyssal Hour here, because the Abyssal Hour is quite low power given there's only 1 force marker there, and a better play there would be actually putting the 8k Dacron behind the Abyssal Hour to hit a better magic number, rather than the 2 Abyssal Hour committed to the same column. So apologies for that misplay, and let's eat the 2 critical done by the Morfessa there. And the Morfessa will be changing into a Charon, and the Charon won't be using his Soul Blast skill because I'm out of soul. And we do swing with the Drag Driver here, and he does confidently no guard. A huge trigger that doesn't go off, but plusing the power to the Charon there, and most likely a PG will be forced out here. Will barely be able to end the game here. He does ride into the second belly, gaining yet another Excel marker, and this will allow him to potentially have 9 attacks this turn if he does achieve the power requirement. He does call down the Sperry Wu there, with the hand-on proccing its effect, so to give them both of them 10k power as well as draw 1, since there are 2 Excel circles there. He does call down the second hand-on with that measured Forza. So using the hand-on skill once again to give additional 10k power and drawing 1 more card. And this effectively makes sure that the units, all his units on the field are actually hitting above 20k, and this will be a guaranteed 9 attacks this turn. And given that Lord is already at 9 damage, if he doesn't eat a damage trigger here, this will be actually lethal. So the Handom swings first with a 10k guard, intercepting easily with the Kron skill, and then a 10k guard. The Sparrow actually hits for 34k power, and we do see a damage trigger here once again by the Lord player, and he does draw 1. And because the the power from the draw trigger does help this turn, lightening the load. It'll be a 34k to the 23k base slot, and he does confidently eat to the 5th damage, hoping for another damage trigger. So the Barry does swing here for 22k power only, standing all the regards though. At 20k will be a no pass. We do see a first drive check draw trigger here, a Kanzen at that, which is good against Lord. And we do see a second one, so this is actually very scary for the Lord player, as Lord does really hit very hard but for very raw numbers. The assault does continue because the Lord is already at 5 damage, but the turn does eventually end because of the effective damage trigger buff. So it's the Lord turn once again. And he does have the third Dragheart Lord here, riding and pumping all the triggers to one side. And he does use the X skill to actually kill off the Handom, to draw 1, to fill up more drop zones in the... basically fill up more drop zones, sorry. And he does use the skill of Lord to Superior Ride. Choosing to return the Drag Driver as well as the Abyssal Owl back to the deck. Riding to the Drag Driver here, gaining yet another marker and stacking heavily on one side. And we are currently seeing 7 force marker on that one column. And now he's able to superior core 4 units. A Kron, a Abyssal Owl, a Brandwin, another Brandwin, and actually a Nis. No Mofessa to be seen here. But the Lord does have a surprise on the back, in his sleeve. So, but he does draw one with the Abyssal first, and we will be witnessing the Danger Lance Dragon. The Danger Lance Dragon stack very hard and will not be scared of the draw Kanzen. And this should be game. And we do actually witness a critical trigger pump there, and that will be very, very strong. So the total power of the Danger Launch column will be a small 118k power only, requiring just 105k worth of shield value, and this should be game. So we will be seeing the GN actually attempting to guard here, given he does have quite a number of shields. But he does have only 80k shields, just 25k shot. Thank you for watching till the end, and do consider subscribing and dropping a like and a comment, and that will be greatly appreciated.